ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. My name is Virtual Nunchucks. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. Hope this video finds you well. Thanks for putting up with us for not having a video on Friday because of the furniture move. We got all that done yesterday, thankfully, and we're back up and running. Today what I have for you guys is a opinion piece. Why great characters matter in video games. Okay, now let's talk about that for a second. As you can see on the screen, we're looking at some Mass Effect Legendary Edition on PS5, but why do great characters matter in video games? I'm going to tell you why. Because you can have the greatest mechanics. Your gunplay can be buttery smooth. You can have like the most beautiful graphics. You can have the most beautiful mechanical game. But if the characters and your story suck, nobody wants to play. Alright, let's think about that for a second. The Legendary Edition of Mass Effect just came out on May the 14th. It's only been a few weeks. And people went nuts. People went crazy to play this again for like the umpteenth time, feels like. Because, why? Because the gunplay was great? No, it wasn't. Especially in Mass Effect 1. Gunplay was not its thing. It was a pure RPG game, so if your stats weren't high enough to use a certain gun, you weren't going to be able to do that. And even if you could use a gun, the gunplay and the combat and the cover system just stunk, even for 2007. But people loved it. And why? Because the characters were great. You got to explore a great big universe. You got to meet interesting new aliens. You got to form friendships, and even the secondary characters and the people that you'd run into on the missions, they had personality. One that comes to mind is the admiral that stops you just outside the Normandy for the surprise inspection. My brother, when it first came out in 2007, he actually wanted to punch the guy. Because he conveyed a certain amount of emotion in his voice. He conveyed that he was kind of a butthole, and it carried over, and that just adds to the richness of the Mass Effect universe. People like Garrus and Tali and all these people, Liara or Kaidan or whoever your favorite characters happen to be. Rex is one of my favorite characters. Rex and Garrus, because they were just likable. In certain respects, they can be funny. You could just laugh at their jokes, no matter how stupid they were, and it just made it for a rich experience in the video game world. That's why people love that particular franchise. I'll give you another one. What is it? Uncharted. Uncharted, when it first came out, the first one, they will be the first to tell you, Naughty Dog will, that the gunplay wasn't up to par, wasn't something that they really had going for it. All the reviews said it. The gunplay is not the slickest in the world, but it felt like an action movie that you'd go to for an hour and a half, and just sit down, and you soaked up the characters of Drake, and you soaked up the characters of Sully and Elena, and the story and those endearing characters are what made the game great. That's why we had 4 installments, 5 if you count Uncharted Lost Legacy, which I didn't hate the game because I do like the character of Chloe, but those characters are why we played the game. They refined all the mechanics, like the gunplay and all that kind of stuff, as they went along, but the predicaments that they would put themselves in, the writing and the characters provided by Nolan North and a bunch of other people, it just worked because, and I started to sound like the guy from Bethesda, but it worked because it was a rich environment. The supporting characters were great. and and that helped the franchise get off the ground and then run. The Last of Us. Okay, I played Last of Us 1. I did not play Last of Us 2. But The Last of Us, Joel and Ellie, that dynamic, that made me care about the game. That made me care about what was going on. If it had been flat, I'll give you one that was flat. For example, Watch Dogs 1. The mechanics were great in that game. The being able to hack traffic lights and security barriers and go in and hack the cameras and see everybody where everybody was and just different things like that. The mechanics, in my opinion anyway, were great in that game. But the character of Aiden Pierce, uh, no, to me that was the most. I played it, and I played it once, got completely through the game, did all the side content that I could stand to do, but the character was just so bland and so boring that to this day I have yet to play another Watch Dogs game. I didn't play Watch Dogs 2. I still haven't picked up Watch Dogs Legion because I'm gun shy. You know, I don't want to spend money on a game and then pop it in there and everybody says, "Oh, this is great. This is way better than the first one," and then be like, "Yeah, okay, sure it was." I don't want to be like that, and it turns me off because the characters are important. Good characters, good writing is important. Not so much in a multiplayer game. You know, like Call of Duty Black Ops 4, for example. There was no single player. There were no real characters in that game. And a multiplayer game doesn't need that because as long as the mechanics are great, the shooting mechanics work, um, and the weapons work, and the things that are supposed to work in a multiplayer shooter, they work. You don't really need interesting characters. Now, to be fair, I happen to like the campaign in every Call of Duty that has one just about. And I miss it when it's not there because I'm just one of those people that likes to play the campaign and needs a good story. But you don't need it necessarily in a multiplayer game. But in things like Mass Effect and Uncharted and Last of Us, those characters are what makes us fall in love with the game. Good writing makes us fall in love with the game. We can forgive some bad mechanics in a game. You know, we want you to fix them, obviously, especially if you go into a next one, which they did for Mass Effect 2. I'm told that Last of Us 2 has great mechanics from the first. They're familiar because they're basically the same control scheme, but they've been refined a little bit, streamlined. Same thing with Uncharted. They streamlined the gunplay. They streamlined different things about it to make it better, but the characters and the stuff remain the same. Um, in in my experience, if you don't have great characters, your game's gonna suffer. Uh, I can forgive some sloppy gun mechanics or some sloppy mechanics in your inventory or sloppy mechanics in whatever, uh, as long as the story or the characters that I'm involved with draw me in. That's why when I look for a game, I look for a game that has great characters. If you don't have a story and a character or two that grab me right away, I don't continue with the game. I can't because I become bored with it and I'm like, who cares? You know, I just don't care. Um, and that's important. So uh, here's a note for you, BioWare. The reason Mass Effect Andromeda didn't do well was because the facial animations obviously were all over the internet, but also you didn't have great characters. They weren't. They didn't reach out and grab you, and it wasn't enough. Now, I'm not saying that that was a bad game. I've actually gone back and played Mass Effect Andromeda is as bad as people say it is or said it was. I think people were just upset about the glitches that they saw most of all, and it just kind of fell a little flat, and people got turned off by what they saw. It's not as bad. It's not as great as the first original trilogy, but it's not as bad, at least in my opinion. Um, so, you have that, but, you know, a lot of people didn't like the characters of Mass Effect Andromeda and didn't like the story. The story kind of fell flat for him or was missing segments, and we all know why because of the development problems and all that stuff. So I'm hopeful that when BioWare comes back out with a new Mass Effect, which is in the works, thank goodness, I am hopeful that they will have learned from their mistakes of not engaging us with a rich story, a rich universe, great characters to hang out with and to experience. Because even on the Pharos mission, okay, Mass Effect 1, which you're not looking at that now, but the sense of foreboding in the fact that the Geth were there, and then you had that subplot with the colonists and all that kind of stuff, and I'm trying not to spoil it for those of you who have not played it all yet, okay? But, that kind of drew me in when I first played it because I was like, wait, this is a little creepy. I've played it several times since my initial playthrough, obviously, way back in the day, but when I first played it, I was like, wait, this is creepy. The environments were great. And the characters, the colonists, they portrayed what it was. Something weird was going on, and the characters conveyed that and made me want to know why. So that's why I think characters and all that are very important to a game. I've told you what one I refuse to play now. And you can tell me in the comment section below if I should go back to play like Watch Dogs 2 and Legion and all that kind of stuff. You can tell me that. But there are several others. But let me know in the comment section below if there was a game that you were like so hyped for, but then you played it and you were like, eh. And when you do that, I want you to think about it for a second. Was it because the mechanics were broken? Because let's be real, Unity was broken. Okay, Assassin's Creed Unity was broken. Mechanics were broken, so much so that I still have it in my library, but I have not gone back to play it because I was like, no, and I know I could, okay, but the drive to play it is no longer there. But if there's a franchise or something like that either was because of bad characters and you just were turned off by the story or the characters were falling flat for you or whatever, let me know what that game was in the comment section below. For me, it was Watch Dogs Legions, and I just couldn't get into it. Or not Watch Dogs Legions, but Watch Dogs 2. I didn't have any desire to play a second or even a third at this point because it just turned me off. So let me know in your comment section below if there was a moment in time where you're playing a game and you're like, I can't. It just doesn't grab me. The characters aren't there, or the story's not there, or whatever. It's not there. And let me know if you've played a game that has bad mechanics, but the story's there enough and the character's there enough to continue to play, and you don't feel like that's a big issue for you. Or let me know if I'm off my rocker. That's possible too. Anyway, guys, hope you have a great Tuesday. Hope this video again finds you well. Don't forget you can follow me on Facebook.com/virtualnunchucks, over on Twitter @BNunchucks, and of course Twitch.tv/virtualnunchucks. And tomorrow, who knows? We'll play something. We'll hang out. We'll do something. I'm thinking about doing a project or an experiment with you guys, and I'll give you some more information maybe on that tomorrow. But I'd like to do that. So be looking for something interesting. At least I hope it will be interesting for you guys tomorrow. And we'll we'll say it. If you did enjoy the video, though, drop a like, and of course, don't forget to subscribe if you're new, because every Monday through Friday I do reviews, opinion pieces like this one, news updates, and we talk about accessibility features for disabled gamers, because I am one. I'm a disabled gamer. And we talk about all kinds of stuff here in games, and we, of course, play and review things. So please, oh please, oh please, oh please, consider subscribing and hit that notification bell. And for those of you who have subscribed, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.